The Python Mother 2. Child of the Python Mother. In a small village called Umueze, nestled in the lush green hills of Anambra State, Nigeria, there lived a couple named Nnamdi and Olana. They were deeply in love, but a heavy sadness hung over their home. For 10 long years, they had prayed for a child, but their arms remained empty. Olana would sit by the window each evening, watching as other women walked by with rounded bellies or babies tied to their backs. Her heart ached with a pain so deep it felt physical. At night, she would cry silently into her pillow, trying not to wake Nnamdi. But he knew. He felt the same pain. Nnamdi threw himself into his work, tending his yam fields from sunrise to sunset. He hoped that if he worked hard enough, if he proved himself worthy enough, the gods would bless them with a child. But each harvest came and went, and still their home echoed with the absence of a child's laughter. The pain of their childlessness touched every part of their lives. Family gatherings became torture, with well-meaning relatives asking when they would have news to share. Friends began to avoid them, unsure of what to say in the face of their ongoing grief. One night, as the moon hung full and heavy in the sky, Nnamdi made a decision. He turned to Olana, his voice barely above a whisper, "My love, we must seek help from Obinna." Olana's eyes widened in fear. Obinna was the village spiritualist, a man shrouded in mystery and feared by many. It was said he could communicate with the spirit world, that he held secrets older than the village itself. But he was also known for his unpredictable nature and the high price he demanded for his services. "Are you sure?" Olana asked, her voice trembling. "They say his magic comes at a great cost." Nnamdi took his wife's hands in his eyes shining with determination and unshed tears. "What greater cost is there than a life without the laughter of a child? We must try, my love. For us." And so, with hearts pounding and hands clasped tightly, Nnamdi and Olana made their way to Obinna's hut at the edge of the forest. The night air was thick with the scent of herbs and incense, and strange sounds echoed from the darkness between the trees. Obinna's hut stood apart from the others, its walls adorned with strange symbols and hanging charms that clinked softly in the breeze. As they approached, the door creaked open of its own accord, and a voice like dry leaves rasped from within, "Enter, seekers of life." Inside, the air was heavy with smoke, and shadows danced on the walls. Obinna sat in the center, his eyes clouded with age but sharp with wisdom. He listened silently as Nnamdi and Olana poured out their hearts, telling him of their years of pain and disappointment. When they finished, Obinna closed his eyes, as if listening to voices only he could hear. After what seemed like an eternity, he spoke. "The Python Mother has heard your cries. She offers you a gift, but it comes with a price. Are you willing to pay it?" Nnamdi and Olana exchanged a glance. The Python Mother was the village's most powerful deity, a giant snake goddess of fertility and guardian of the land. Her blessings were rare and powerful, but her wrath was terrible to behold. "We are willing to pay any price," Olana said, her voice stronger than she felt. Obinna nodded slowly. "Then listen carefully, for this is what you must do." Under the light of the full moon, Nnamdi and Olana followed Obinna's instructions. They ventured into the sacred grove near the Ogbunite caves, their bodies painted with symbols of fertility and their arms laden with offerings. As they approached the ancient Iroko tree at the heart of the grove, they saw her, the python mother herself, her scales gleaming like polished obsidian in the moonlight. What happened next was a blur of chanting, swirling mists, and a feeling of power so intense it made their skin tingle. When it was over, Olana felt a warmth in her belly that she had never experienced before. Somehow, she knew she was with child. The months that followed were a mixture of joy and fear. Olana's belly swelled, but so did the whispers in the village. People talked of the couple's visit to Obina, of strange lights seen in the sacred grove. Some said the child was a blessing, others warned it was a curse. On a stormy night, with thunder rattling the windows and lightning illuminating the sky over the Anambra River, Olana gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. They named her Ada, meaning first daughter, and she was perfect in every way. Her eyes, a striking golden color, seemed to hold wisdom beyond her years. As Ada grew, it became clear that she was no ordinary child. She was kind and loving, with a laugh that could light up the darkest day. But there was something else about her, something that both awed and frightened those around her. Ada seemed to have a deep connection to nature. Plants would bloom at her touch, and animals would flock to her. She could predict rain with uncanny accuracy and always knew where to find the sweetest fruits in the forest. And sometimes, when she thought no one was looking, her eyes would flash gold, and her skin would shimmer in a way that wasn't quite human. The first time Ada transformed was on her 5th birthday. She had been playing by the river when a group of older boys began teasing her, pulling her hair and pushing her around. Ada's eyes flashed gold, and suddenly her skin began to shimmer. Before the astonished eyes of the boys, Ada's form blurred and shifted, and where the little girl had stood, there was now a small python, its scales glistening in the sunlight. The boys ran away screaming, and by the time Namdi and Olana arrived, Ada had changed back. She sat by the river, confused and scared. "Mama, Papa," she cried, "what's happening to me?" That night, Namdi and Olana sat Ada down and told her the story of her birth, of the blessing and responsibility she carried. Ada listened with wide eyes, alternating between wonder and fear. Am I a monster?" she asked in a small voice. Olana gathered her daughter in her arms, holding her tight. "No, my love," she said fiercely. "You are a gift, a miracle. You are our daughter, and we love you more than life itself." As Ada grew older, she learned to control her transformations. She found she could change at will, slipping into the form of a python when she wanted to explore the forest or swim in the deepest parts of the river. But she also learned the importance of keeping her gift a secret from most of the villagers. Only her parents and her closest friend knew the truth. That friend was Chidi, the son of the village blacksmith. He was 2 years older than Ada, with a kind heart and clever hands. Where others might have feared Ada's gift, Chidi was fascinated by it. He would watch in awe as Ada transformed, and together they would explore the hidden corners of the forest. As the years passed, Ada and Chidi's friendship blossomed into something deeper. They would spend hours together, talking about their dreams and fears. Chidi spoke of his desire to become a great blacksmith like his father, creating tools and weapons that would help the village prosper. Ada shared her struggles with her dual nature, her fear of losing control and hurting those she loved. When Ada turned 18, she and Chidi were married in a joyous ceremony that brought the whole village together. But their happiness was soon overshadowed by strange events that began to plague Umuis. It started small, a sudden storm that damaged crops, a mysterious illness that swept through the village's livestock. At first, no one made the connection to Ada. But as time went on, people began to notice a pattern. These calamities seemed to happen whenever Ada was upset or angry. One day, after a heated argument with Chidi, Ada ran into the forest, tears streaming down her face. That night, a massive python was seen slithering through the village, its body as thick as a man's torso. Chickens disappeared from their coops, and yams were found crushed in the fields. The villagers were terrified. They remembered the stories of Ada's strange birth, of the deal made with the python mother. Whispers began to circulate that Ada was not just blessed by the python mother, but was somehow a part of her. In their fear and desperation, the villagers turned to Obinna for guidance. The old spiritualist listened to their concerns, his face grave. Finally, he spoke. Ada is indeed tied to the python mother in ways we cannot fully understand. When Ada is happy, the python mother is pleased. But when Ada is angry or sad, the python mother's wrath falls upon us all. This revelation changed everything. The villagers now saw Ada not just as a mysterious child, but as their direct link to the powerful deity that protected their land. They began to treat her with a mixture of reverence and fear. People started bringing gifts to Ada and Chidi's home. At first, it was small things, a basket of the finest yams, a jug of palm wine, a beautifully woven cloth. But as time went on, the gifts became more elaborate. Families would bring their firstborn to be blessed by Ada. Farmers would ask her to touch their seeds before planting. With each gift, the giver would say something like, "Please, Ada, accept this humble offering. May you be happy, and may the python mother look kindly upon us." Or, "This gift is for you, Ada, bridge between our world and the spirit realm. Please ask the python mother to bless our harvest." Ada was overwhelmed by this sudden change. She had never asked for this power or responsibility. She confided in Chidi, tears in her eyes, "I don't know how to be what they want me to be. I'm just Ada. Just me." Chidi held her close, his strong arms a shelter from the weight of the village's expectations. "You are you," he said softly. "And that is more than enough. We'll figure this out together." As the seasons changed, Ada and Chidi learned to navigate their new reality. Ada used the gifts they received to help those in need in the village. She made sure that no one went hungry, that the sick received care. In doing so, she began to understand the power she held and the good she could do with it. But the weight of being the village's intermediary with the python mother was heavy. Ada felt the pressure of every request, every plea for good fortune. She worried constantly about her moods, knowing that a moment of anger or sadness could bring calamity to those she cared about. One year, a terrible drought struck Anambra State. The rivers ran low, crops withered in the fields, and the people of Umuis began to suffer. They came to Ada in droves, bringing what little they had left as gifts, begging her to intercede with the Python Mother. Ada was devastated. She wanted to help, but she didn't know how. In her desperation, she decided to do something drastic. In the middle of the night, she slipped out of bed, leaving a sleeping Chidi behind. She made her way to the sacred grove where she had been conceived. There, under the light of the moon, Ada transformed into her python form. She was larger now than she had ever been before, her scales shimmering with an otherworldly light. She slithered to the base of the ancient Iroko tree and began to sing. It wasn't a song that human ears could hear, but the forest heard it. The earth trembled slightly, and a warm wind began to blow. As Ada sang, she poured all of her love for her village, all of her fear and hope and desperation, into the song. Hours passed, and as the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, the sky darkened with clouds. Rain began to fall, softly at first, then in a torrent. It rained for 3 days and 3 nights, soaking the parched earth and filling the riverbeds. When Ada returned to the village, weak and exhausted, she found the people celebrating in the streets. The drought was over. Crops already showed signs of revival, and the air was filled with hope once more. The gratitude of the villagers knew no bounds. Gifts poured into Ada and Chidi's home, food, cloth, jewelry, anything and everything the people could give. But more than the physical gifts, Ada felt the weight of their faith, their belief in her as their protector and intermediary. As the years passed, Ada grew into her role. She became known far beyond Umuis as a powerful priestess of the Python Mother. People would travel from all over Anambra State and beyond to seek her blessings and her help. But for all her power and influence, Ada remained a mystery. No one, not even Ada herself, knew what her future held. Would she live a normal human lifespan? Would she one day transform permanently into a python? Would she be called to the spirit realm to live with the Python Mother? These questions hung over Ada and the village like a mist, ever present but impossible to grasp. The Python Mother 3 coming soon. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more beautiful African tale.